live on the Woodward Sports Network, 99.1 and 93.5 The Roar, the Woodward Sports app, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. Let's talk some sports. It's Big D Energy.
Oh, yo. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Big D Energy right here on the Woodward Sports Network. My name is Neal. Ruhl. That guy over there is D-Mac, Darren McCarty. We got Sam Flannel. He's on brand. He's on budget. We got our guy Spencer Raxter in the building. We are squad deep in here. Hello to everybody watching on the YouTube channel. If you're listening on the radio, however you're doing it, we're certainly glad that you are, as is customary. Detroit Dabber 313 says Seider won the Calder. He's the first one in. And D-Mac, you and I actually were on the golf course together when that news broke yesterday. I think you and I had a very similar sentiment in we knew or we figured he was going to win. I think you were a bit surprised, as I was, by the distance of victory. Yeah,
it was more of a relief. Just like, come on, you can't get this wrong. And I think just listening to I think I was listening to the NHL Network talking about, well, the Detroit Red Wings have all these second place guys, and they're going through different things about who ended up to be a better pro. But Mo Seider with 170 first place votes to 15 for Trevor Zegras at second. Goes to show you they got it right. And it goes to show you from the outside the respect that is put on Mo Seider, especially at the defensive position, all the stuff I've been talking about. This is the 2022 NHL. What he's done at his age is something that really stood out, and the voters got it right. So if you're listening at home, it was 170 to 15 first place votes, but almost 1,900 to 1,200 in total points, I guess.
Right.
So you say that's a landslide or whatever. I believe it should be, especially in today's day and age, where you got to skate, and if you can put the points on the board too. And the caveat is the physicality of Mo Seider. Not just delivering hits on guys coming down on him or in the corner, but when he's getting rid of the puck, he has that Datsuk reverse shoulder. He lays guys out. So good for him. But as if you listen to Mo in his speech and talk and stuff like this, the respect and the individual is great. But now it's all about team now, moving forward. And I thought that was a great class act, Steve Yzerman, to surprise. I know Chris Illich was down there, but Dylan Larkin, they flew Dylan Larkin, the captain, down there to be there. And that's important because to me, culturally, that tells you, okay, this is where we're at. These are your guys. Get used to it.
Absolutely. And we'll talk a little bit later in the show, more in depth about the whole Mo Seider situation. Lucas Raymond as well, finishing fourth. And I think when we get into that, I think Lucas Raymond is vitally important to this franchise.
Well, absolutely. Touching on that, you got two guys. You got Seider and Raymond as all rookie team. Raymond finishes fourth. The future's so bright. The one thing we're going to talk about too is that the people are getting up a little in a tizzy because who did Mo Seider hug to his right? Claude Lemieux. You better realize, guys, Claude's on our side now, being Mo's agent. Didn't I tell you? At March 26th when I did the 25-year, there's a reason it's time not to play nice, but if we're going to have some understanding, because we have common goals working towards, and that is Red Wing championships. So, I mean, if that doesn't tell you the tide has changed, I thought that was a caveat. Neal, one of those little caveats looking back going to Sunday or Saturday night if people are going to LCA to watch Unrivaled. It's just the way life works. I say it all the time, man. It's a trip. Isn't it a trip, though, to be able to see that and to know that the guy that you hated the most, the guy that I wanted removed from this planet, people that I want to remove from this planet, now we're counting on him to give advice, and obviously his advice has worked. You have a Calder Trophy. He's been his agent for a while, so he's giving him good advice. So props to Mo Seider.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will discuss coming up in just a little bit. We'll be joined by Michigan's own UFC Heavyweight Josh Parisian as well. He'll be fighting this weekend at UFC on ESPN 38 in a huge bout for him personally and what he has going on. So we'll talk with him coming up in about 10 minutes from now. He's got a very interesting story and Michigan guy too. So certainly we will cut it up with Josh Parisian and talk some UFC, talk some fighting. I feel as though we have, there's representation on this show. I do want to know some of the similarities that,
one of
the
us
warrior
has been
mentality.
punched in the face a few times. Yeah. The other one has commented on it.
And the other one's commented on it.
Hurt.
Right.
Yeah, it hurt, bud. Yeah. Did that one hurt? How about this one? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Chris Webber made it to the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame as well, and that's justifiably so. And Chris Webber, one of the great college basketball players, I say, of all time, really, when you reconstruct it and everything like that. And, Basketball Hall of Famer should be in the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame. It's a little bit different because you have media that vote on it that they carry a grudge. But it's nice to see, again, the right thing was done.
Well, obviously, again, when we're talking about maybe time might not heal all wounds, but it makes it a little bit softer. And we can agree if we're talking about, because I'm all about, this goes back to when I heard this, I was like, yes, because it goes back to the story. You can tell the story all you want, but it has to be included. To me, to keep the Fab Five or to keep Chris Webber out of the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame, which what he's done not only in high school but in college and even pro in the state, right, is just like what the MLB does in keeping the steroid era and the asterisks and the home runs out. 100 years from now, 200 years from now, you can't explain the story properly.
Right.
Right? Like, have all the narratives inside of it. Oh, and they pulled the banners down, and they did this, and they did that, and this. That's cool. But the stats are the stats, and the game is the game, and he played, and he was so dominant a country day. I remember that.
He was must-see. I mean, he was an attraction.
He was, I guess, when we heard about, the Kobe's coming out, but the LeBron's coming up, but Chris Webber was just like that out of this area, if I can, remember properly, doubt. Highly touted.
And they changed the game, too. And we talk about that a lot, right? We've talked about Steph Curry and how he's changed the game. Fab Five and that Michigan basketball team changed the basketball culture. No one can deny that. Yeah. And I think that was, looking back on it, that was the original seeds in my mind, I think, for the whole name, image, and likeness thing, because they were the ones that brought it to the forefront. They're like, hey, Nike's paying the school all this money. They're selling my jersey. I don't get anything from it. And they're right.
And look at how long that takes.
Right.
To write that. So that's 20 years ago, right?
And that's something, to me, I think should be celebrated about Chris Webber. And look, I know the negatives and things like that. I certainly know the negatives.
If you're going to hamper on the negatives, you got to hamper on the positives.
Absolutely.
Be fair. Because that we can tell a story.
And what he did on the floor, dominant. Because really, when you start talking about Hall of Fames, it's the Hall of Fame for what they did on the basketball floor, man.
Well, that's what we're talking about for the story of this, and this specifically Michigan Sports Hall of Fame. In the basketball wing, you cannot leave Chris Webber out.
No,
it would just be sacrilegious.
No, it would be pretty stupid.
Yeah, because not even that is changing the game, but also the fashion. The
culture, basketball
the long
culture,
socks, the long shorts, all that. They made basketball cool.
Yeah,
didn't they?
The black socks were awesome. They
were. And what I remember is just the Fab Five, but it was sometimes you had to focus a little bit more to figure out. You could tell who Webber was because of the size of him and Juwan. But when they were running around, they looked, the unity that they had and the way that they played the game. And it's something that I guess, you just got me thinking about is that, man, I'm grateful that I got to watch that. I got to see that live and experience that. I got to experience Fab Five and the Flintstones.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, in that Fab Five and that whole Chris Webber time, he was one of your contemporaries. You know what I'm saying? Like that was your time, you coming up, and the Fab Five, obviously, at Michigan. What a great time that was back in the day. Remember those days?
Oh, the good old days.
Yeah. And like the Tigers,
these guys weren't born.
No, they weren't. But guys, let me tell you this too: like the Tigers would still lose a lot, but they'd be entertaining to watch.
It'd be fun to watch.
They had bombs.
Yeah,
Cecil the Vessel over the.
Rob Deere would be 1 for 4 every game with 3 strikeouts and a home run.
Yes, we had Juan Gonzalez back then.
Mickey Tettleton back then. I mean, they just hit so many. You guys, listen. I'm gonna tell you guys this. They did this thing back then where they would hit the ball over the fence, and they'd get to go around the bases.
Yeah, Javi Baez hit a home run last night. Look out. He's over 200 on the year.
That's right. Wow. Isaac Paredes hit 3 of them last night.
Isaac Paredes hit 3 home runs last night?
He's got 8.
How many does Austin Meadows have this whole season?
0. Is he still at 0?
Yeah.
He's still at 0.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
I just heard the stat there a few weeks when Meadows came back. He was batting 3rd and Miggy was 4th. That the combined 3-4 hitters through 60 games had 3 home runs.
Oh, it just makes you physically ill to hear. I mean, not only is it bad, it's boring.
But
like
Neal,
you
tell
said.
him when you knew it. Tell him when you knew it and you nailed it. We should have seen it coming.
Jeimer Candelario is your opening day cleanup hitter. And I was told, well, he had a lot of doubles. Yeah, so did Davy Cruz. Davy Cruz hit a lot of doubles, too. They called him Senor Doble, as a matter of fact. What'd that get you?
Nothing. Maybe they should call Jeimer Candelario Senior, or maybe like what's the for son Doble, you know, something like that. You know, he did lead the AL in doubles, and in Comerica Park, you know, some of your home runs are going to get taken away, but you're not going to find a Jeimer Candelario apologist in me. So I just saying.
Well, there were a lot of them, and look, we're not reliving that. We're not rehashing it. But the Tigers did lose again yesterday. We've got a lot of stuff to get to today. This Jerami Grant thing, I want to speak on that. We'll do that coming up a little bit later in the first hour. Why the slander for the man? Do you feel as though he's being slandered? How about you, Sam Flanagan? I almost feel like it's borderline slander right now.
I think it's partly deserved, though. I think he's really, really good as a 3rd or 4th option. But, Neal, you said yesterday that, you know, people who score 20 points a game don't grow on trees. But he does it at 42%, being 6'8". And I think he's more well-used as like a 3 or a 4 like he was in Denver. And I think that's why. And I think with Jerami Grant, he thinks he's still the number 1. I don't know what you think, Spencer, but there's a sick part of me that thinks that he thinks he's the number 1, even over Cade Cunningham.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's definitely got that mentality. That's why he came to Detroit, is to be that guy and prove he can be that guy. Although I do think he swallowed the sword and realized that it's Cade's team, because if he hasn't by now, it's not going to get any clearer anytime soon, because this is Cade's team. But I don't know. I agree. I think he can be a solid 3 on a championship team if needed. And is that, you know, better than what you'll get for 16 and Bogdanovich? Like, I don't know.
That's my point.
Yeah, I think Jerami Grant's better than you get from 7 to 16. He's a better player than somebody you get from there.
Plus, you don't know what you have. So you're going to pay for knowing what you have. I just think that Chuck Brewer nailed it. It's just we're going around and around. Trade him, don't trade him. I think we're all at the point where let's just get the draft here tomorrow and see where we're at and see what it is. So I believe myself that he is still part of this team. That's why he's still around. And it'll be interesting to hear what you basketball pundits have to say after our first round pick to see if Jerami Grant fits into that, or maybe there's a trade involved and we're moving around. Who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. Second hour, we got some Lions talk coming your way also. Who's the Lions' biggest rival in the division? And I have some thoughts on it, because there's one team in particular I can't stand, and it's not the Green Bay Packers. I mean, I can't stand them. I'm getting worked up right now way more than I thought I would. And you see the wheels turning right now, too. Like, I am getting fired up about this.
I know who it is, because enough's enough.
Enough's enough.
We take it.
Yeah.
But you know what? When enough's enough, who do you turn to? Yes, we here at Big D Energy turn to Guardian Alarm, because they keep you safe and give you peace of mind 24/7, whether you're home or on the road. Right from here, you can monitor, turn lights on, turn it off. It's so hot out there. Make sure the pets are good with the air conditioning. So if you want to be part of the Guardian Alarm, a local security expert family here at Woodward Sports, give them a call, 1-800.
Stay out.
That's 1-800.
Stay out.
81 straight days of protecting the flannel, so give them a call, 1-800.
Stay out. Get out of my house.
Get out of the house. Give them a call. Guardian Alarm, your local security experts. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Kroger's, and if you want to know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
Neal Ruhl here for Chili Peppers Tanning. Join the Pepper Club where you can get all the best deals. They'll beat all the competition's price by at least $5. You can get your unlimited tanning options on as well at Chili Peppers Tanning. The hottest bulbs, the hottest deals, and the darkest tans. Go to chilipepperstanning.com. Find out which one of their 26 locations work best for you. It's Chili Peppers Tanning. Back at it here. Big D Energy. Woodward Sports Network. Neal Ruhl, D-Mac, Darren McCarty working on getting Josh Parisian on right now. Spencer Raxter's on the case as he has lined up to participate in UFC on ESPN 38 this weekend in Las Vegas. Interesting backstory to Josh's career. Certainly a lot on the line for him personally this weekend as well in Las Vegas. But we will talk to him coming up in just a couple of seconds. And D-Mac, I'm always curious about, and I'll ask Josh this when we get him on, like when does that switch flip? And I'm curious for you too. Like when does that, you guys obviously you talk, there are words before you get in the ring, so to say. When does that switch flip when you're in a fight?
And it's different when, I guess, in hockey where it's more of less premeditation, but sometimes there is premeditation, so you know it going into the game. And I guess it's just sort of being prepared. You do a lot of things that I'm sure the boxers or UFC guys do. You watch some tape on the other guy to see some tendencies, right? The biggest thing is, see, I always had a bit of when you're a lefty, like I am, sometimes when guys don't pay attention, and because you got to remember back when we played like in the 90s and 2000s, the video wasn't what it is then. You have to go out and search for it. Go get a VCR or go, hockeyfights.com is the greatest website where I would go on there and check out to see who was fighting. Oh, there's a fight the other day. So say I'm fighting Jamal Myers in St. Louis and he had his last fight. So I'll see what he's doing or, what happened like that. You also have to prepare for the game, right? Because this is
there's a game going on.
The other thing. So this is always the back of your mind. But no word of a doubt, Neal, you'll get the lineup sheet like this, and you'll go through it. And this is how the difference is from then till now. Is in the 90s I go through it, and it'd be like, okay, these three guys probably end up fighting him if I have the choice. Moving on, da 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 da. Whereas now you don't look at it. Watch out, this guy's gonna hit you if you get the puck in your corner. So it's a lot different, but the preparation, I'm sure video is a big asset.
And speaking of video, right now joining us via video from Las Vegas, a heavyweight in the UFC, and he'll be taking part in the card this weekend. UFC on ESPN 38. He is Michigan's own Josh Parisian. And Josh, I would imagine like the heavy lifting's done, right, as you get into this week. What does this week mean? What do you do right now kind of 5 days before the fight?
5 days before the fight, there's some relaxation, but also we're gonna do some cardio to keep my lungs open. We'll do some stretching, some plyometrics, some fast twitch stuff. Just try to stay fast and stay athletic. And I don't know if you've just been laying around. If you lay around for the whole week, you're not gonna feel great on fight day. So just keep moving and just trying to feel good by the time the fight comes.
So, Josh, what about it, man? And I've talked to you before personally, and you've kind of shared some details about it. Your story, how you become a UFC fighter, and your life and the events leading up to it. For those that don't know you, that are going to check you out for the first time, this weekend on ESPN for UFC on ESPN 38. What's your backstory? How did you become a UFC fighter?
Actually, I didn't really play any sports growing up. I played a lot of online video games. I grew up in a not real great home, pretty abusive from my stepfather, and it was mostly mental than it was physical. And I guess it just destroyed my confidence. And I was in college. I was in a public speaking class, and somebody did their assignment on mixed martial arts, and I had never even heard of it. And I had talked to him. He asked me if I wanted to come to the high school wrestling room. They let him do mitts and stuff in there. This is Escanaba in the UP. And I went there. I wanted to do that, and it made me feel good, and it gave me some confidence, and a little confidence when you have no confidence is a lot. So I liked it so much that, and I don't advise everybody to do this, but I dropped out of college. I moved downstate to just train full time, and I never intended on fighting. I just wanted to train. I got talked into taking a fight, and then I won that fight, and that made me feel even better. So I ended up going 4-0, 5-0. I won every amateur belt that I could in Michigan, and then my goals just kept progressively changing. I never intended on being a professional, but as I got better at amateur, I'm like, oh, maybe I can go pro, and then I became the #1 professional in Michigan for heavyweight, and then just the goals that seemed unattainable at the beginning just kept coming in reach closer. So as I was the #1 professional, like, well, I could get into the UFC and maybe I could make money and make a career out of it, and here I am.
Well, you talk about that, Josh, and that's great. So the journey, like you said, starting the amateur routes into the professional leads you to a 14-5 record into this fight, but it's also the last fight of your deal. So do you feel like this is the opportunity to show out, because you're sort of fighting for your life? You mentioned about doing UFC or mixed martial arts and as a career. So is there a little added pressure going in, or how do you view this? Or do you look at it like this opportunity going into this fight this weekend?
Actually, I feel a lot less pressure on this one. The fight before it, actually all the fights before this since I've been in the UFC have been just tons of pressure on me. And I realized it's because I made it my job. I made it my full-time thing, that this is how I have to feed my kid. This is how I have to provide for my family. And it put a lot of stress on me, and I couldn't figure it out until after this last loss. I'm like, why was I so stressed before this fight? Why was I so mentally broken? And it was because I made it my job, and it wasn't fun for me anymore. So I pursued other routes to make money in another career, other opportunities for myself that can be my job. And now I can make this fun again. And something about this weekend, I'm excited to go out there and just have fun.
Josh Parisian joining us here on Big D Energy, heavyweight UFC fighter. He'll be one of the main fights on UFC on ESPN 38 as he squares off against Alain Badeau on Saturday night. You guys can watch the fight, support one of Michigan's own in Josh Parisian. So, Josh, I have to ask you this, man, because I'm fascinated. I was talking with Darren McCarty a few minutes ago, right, as you popped on, that fighter mentality where this is the part that fascinates me. You are going into a cage where another man wants to hurt you badly. Like, that's the mentality. That's what it is. And when does that switch flip for you? Is it when you're walking, out to the cage? Is it when they close the cage door? Is it when you get punched in the face? When does the switch flip?
It's when I get punched in the face. It definitely is. It's fighting is a weird thing because it's not that I get many fights outside of fighting, but if you were just to get into a fight, it just happens. In this kind of fighting, I'm thinking about this person for 10 weeks. I'm obsessing over this person. I'm thinking about everything they're good at, everything they're bad at, and I almost I make them colossal in my head by the time the event happens. And when they hit me, it's almost like a realization that this is just a normal person. He's not as huge and strong and powerful as I built him up to be in my head, and it's just it's like a relief.
Hey, Josh.
Sorry.
I'm a big UFC fan. I've been a big MMA guy my whole life watching it, and I went to Stipe and DC2 in Anaheim, saw that live in person. Just amazing card. Obviously, with that fight, you had Yoel Romero and Paulo Costa on that same card. We had Max Holloway on that card. What can you say to maybe a casual MMA fan or somebody that hasn't really experienced that in person, to the electricity of a live UFC event and how that really goes down?
Man, I wish somebody would come on here and tell me as well, because I have not fought in front of a crowd yet.
Oh, wow.
I was on The Ultimate Fighter, which it's a reality TV show, so they film it before, so there's no crowd. I was on the Contender Series twice, no crowd. Then I got into the UFC during COVID. And now, the restrictions are much less now, but I'm still fighting in Vegas with no crowd.
At the Apex.
So, yeah. There's like a small crowd, maybe 100 people in there, but it's not like a stadium. That's something I'd really like to experience. And, I'm hoping to perform well and get a new contract and be able to fight in front of an audience.
Josh Parisian joining us here, UFC Heavyweight, on our YouTube chat thread here, Josh, in live time. A couple of people. eFog3 says Josh is a bad man. I like this guy. Born Cool says Josh at plus 100 seems like easy money. What about that? I mean, just like the whole everything that goes on at, like, people. Obviously, you're there in Vegas, so people are betting on MMA and everything like that. I mean, just the whole circumstance to it all and everything that entails it. When you boil us all down, though, they are closing the door, and Alain Badeau's over there, and he wants to hurt you.
Yeah. I'm sorry. What was the question exactly?
Oh, yeah. It's just with all the circumstance, everybody's around, the betting lines and the television cameras and everything like that. But through all this, and all the media obligations and everything that you're doing, through all that, they're going to close that cage door, and it gets real Saturday night.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny you say about the betting, because that's not something I've ever experienced until I got in the UFC. People don't bet on local shows, and I've gotten crazy messages. I've gotten win or loss, people are upset because if they've lost money, they feel the need to message me and let me know they lost money. And I had one guy tell me he would message me every single day to let me know how upset he was because he lost and he went about 45 days before he finally quit. And I could just block it, but it doesn't bother me. I just think it's funny that people are, they would do that. I'm not telling you to bet your money. I'm going out there to do the best I can. I have people. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Josh. I was going to say I feel you, bro. But go ahead.
I have people, and I'm not even sure I should report this, but people trying to get me to throw the fight and give me I'll give you $30,000 to throw the fight, and messages like that. I'm like, get out of here.
But isn't it crazy though? But you think that whether people would think that or not, and you're saying no, it is a legitimate with the way that the world is. My question, a lot of people on here, when you look at your bio, fight out of the Scorpion fighting system and stuff like this, and Brighton, and give people a lay down, they say, what's your specialty, or what kind of, my question is, when I'm watching on Saturday, to see you have control of this fight, what do I need to see? And then also, too, what do you have to prepare defensively against Badeau to, where he's looking to try to be, the aggressor to you?
So I definitely want to keep it standing. I want to stay on my feet. I'm a much better striker than I am a wrestler. And I do have grappling, but when it comes to heavyweights, it takes a lot of energy to get up from underneath another heavyweight, regardless of your jiu-jitsu. So I would say if you see me moving and flowing and fighting very unorthodox, it means that I'm having fun and I'm in my element, and I'm definitely, I have a better chance of winning for sure.
Well, Josh, man, we appreciate you taking some time on Fight Week, as you get ready to, as we said, step in the cage. UFC on ESPN 38 live from Las Vegas, and you guys can watch it on Saturday night. Michigan's own Josh Parisian, as you said, does his training out of Scorpion Fighting Systems there in Brighton. What do you got, D-Mac?
I was just going to say, just pretend, right, that the guy that you're fighting is the golf ball I seen you hit up at the Worst Open. That's the whole connection. You want to make that noise on his face, you'll be all right, bro. That's all I'm saying. And that's the one thing is, if that you clicked into me is that if you can slow things down, right? You mentioned the cardio and stuff, but if it's sort of like the Matrix. If you're unorthodox, I'll be looking for you to be unorthodox and to be having fun because everything's sort of coming to you and it's not coming too quick. So good luck to you, brother.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. We'll all be tuned in. Josh Parisian, everybody here, UFC Heavyweight, and he will be getting it on in Las Vegas this Saturday night, and you can certainly watch that on ESPN and go through your outlets to do that. People are becoming fans of Josh, man, here on the YouTube chat thread. The away fan, my dude looked like he has hammers for fist, and you can't see it there on the video screen.
He does.
Yeah.
No, seriously,
you can't see it on the screen. He was up at the Worst Open, the golf thing that we were up north, up at Frankenmuth at. When you stand next to this cat, that's all I can think about. What if this man was coming after you, Neal?
It's a different level of power. Like I said, when I was at that DC and Stipe fight, Stipe ended up winning by hitting DC with these body shots, and they were echoing throughout the arena. It was some of the loudest noises I've ever heard was just these body shots he was hitting Stipe. So those guys, it's a different level of power, different level of strength for UFC heavyweights. It's crazy.
The mentality just amazes.
Yeah.
I'll never get over that. No matter how many, and I've asked you this before, asking Josh, anybody in combat sports, man, just that moment. Mm-hmm. God, that moment, man, where it's this man wants to hurt you.
Oh, yeah. They're gladiators, man. They're gladiators going at it. That's why I love it.
It's you or him, he wants it to be you.
Oh, yeah.
Out.
One person walking out of the cage.
And then what a great self-awareness point to all of us with Josh, and to realize, okay, what was going wrong or the stress in our lives. And it's just sort of like the pressure that we put on ourselves, and the fact that he was able to realize that if he doesn't make this the end-all be-all, then he can go out and enjoy some fun, because that's, that the mentality, and I laugh, is that, if you see me unorthodox, I'm out there having fun. Yeah, to your point about, having
Josh,
fun.
I wanted to say, Josh, this guy wants to kill you. I'm out here having fun.
That's what it is at the end of the day. These guys are different breeds, man.
I root for that dude, man. Great dude. I got a chance to meet him, spent a lot of time with my son, talk with my son and everything, and really, really pulling for him and want to see him get it done. Let me tell you about Big Boy. The buffets are back at Big Boy at participating locations every weekend from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Don't forget to try the classics. The Slim Jim, the Dolly Chicken Sandwich, and, of course, the original Big Boy. Find your nearest location at bigboy.com. Maybe when Josh gets the win, when he gets back to Brighton, he can pull up on the buffet, man. There you go. So maybe you'll see Josh out there at the Brighton location. It's Big Boy, a Detroit institution.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Fellas, let's be honest. We like things to be easy. We like simple stuff, like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play. And before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neal Ruhl, D-Mac, Darren McCarty, Sam Flannel, Spencer Raxter. Just 3 guys, that are fighting experts sitting around talking fighting, D-Mac.
I just laugh every time because I want to tell somebody is that, remember, you're talking to somebody who probably has never been punched in the face, right? Where it's like, and to his point, where I'm sitting there going, yeah. He's like, when does it start? Oh, when you get hit and you realize you're in it. But then it goes back to training. Right, where Josh brought up a great point about fighting is that if you get a fight on the street, it's just like reaction, and it's not like you're preparing for it. So here it's some preparation, but also too is that it'll be interesting. It's cool, and knowing Josh for the past few years and stuff like this, just to see his demeanor, I can see that growth, and it's that self-awareness in who he is. But yeah, Guys, his hands are this big. And, this is what I meant to say. We always go up, hockey guys, we always go up and go, thank God that guy can't skate. Thank God he does not play hockey. Because you have to fight some of these guys now.
Yeah, absolutely. But lots of love for Josh here in the YouTube chat, and that's very, very cool. Rob J says, yikes, to get in a scrap with him. And, that's what it is. But Jenna Newman says, don't forget to smash the like button like Josh will smash his competitors this weekend. So, yeah, if you're on the YouTube channel, go ahead and click that like button while you are at it. But, again, going back to it, Mo Seider wins the Calder. Lucas Raymond finished 4th in the voting. And D-Mac, as I said earlier, you and I were together on the golf course at Red Run here in Royal Oak, and we were chopping it up when the news broke. And what?
Family Fun Center.
Family Fun and Arcade. That is Red Run Golf Course with those greens rolling a 14 on the stem.
14. We just you had to laugh. It turned into hit it in the right spot. We didn't hit it in the right spot. We had a good time. Oh, I got to preface it. The Terminal Lions fan, Dennis? Yeah, D-Mac got to spend the day. He's, oh my gosh, forget his lion terminal illness has thwarted the rest of his life. The guy hits Bubba Watson left-handed bombs.
Power slices.
Power 40-yard cuts that go 280. But yet, he will not pull his driver.
When the moment comes, he won't do it, yeah. Like Terminal Lions fan.
He is Terminal. I mean, the Lions are so seeped into him, but it was great to meet him, great to talk about it, and that was awesome. And then shout out to Tommy Tickles.
Yeah.
Tommy Tickling, and if you saw that's a Tickles production, if you saw Neal and I's Mulligan commercial.
A little
stuff
impromptu
like
Mulligan commercial. Go to Woodward Sports on Twitter to check that out.
Before we get back to Mo Seider, Neal didn't need a mulligan on that shot. He hit his driver money yesterday.
Oh, yeah. No, it was nice. Yeah, it was nice, no doubt.
But that was fun.
But yeah, talking about the Mo Seider thing, and you and I were together, and when the news broke, D-Mac, I hit you with this instantly because while everybody was looking for Mo Seider to win, certainly I was too, I was surprised by the distance he won by. And then number two for me was I immediately went to see where Lucas Raymond was. And because Lucas Raymond, D-Mac, to me, look, Mo Seider appears to be one of those unicorn defensemen, right? We talk about big men in basketball. They call them unicorns. Mo Seider looks to be, because those defensemen that are that big, that are that skilled, are unicorns. But for me, Lucas Raymond is just about as vital to me as Mo Seider is. The rookie contract stuff, the production you're getting on the rookie contract, which certainly has blown away what he's being paid. But number two, my biggest complaint with the Red Wings from last year to this year, coming into this year, was scoring goals.
Yes.
You look at Tampa, how's Tampa built? Kucherov, second round pick, right? Those are the guys for me. I need guys that can score goals and score them at a high level. And Lucas Raymond, rookie year, 20-goal season, he was what Zadina was supposed to be to me. I'm all the way on board with Lucas Raymond. He could be a great goal scorer. Am I crazy? Am I overvaluing it?
No, you're absolutely not overvaluing.
Could he be a Kucherov type?
You want to do comparables, right?
Right.
Who do you have coming down? So if you're comparable, and I'll do comparables to hockey, to Tampa Bay, where they have the Hedman, right? Where Seider moving in that, but they also have a guy who's an integral part that has been hurt here in the finals, but in a Braden Point, who gets it. Like Raymond could and probably should be with what he showed this year, Neal, your 40-goal scorer, right-handed shot. Yes, exactly. Everything that you're getting from Raymond is what we expected out of Zadina, right? Even 2-3 years to the road. So it's the consistency. If I'm going to compare this to the Pistons or whatever, whereas Mo Seider's your Cade Cunningham, where you look at the Pistons and you look at your Sadiq Bey, would be your Raymond, and then you look and go, okay, Raymond is ahead of Sadiq Bey, right, as far as development. So the fact that the biggest thing is this is how the league, the writers, everybody else views your team, even though you stink and the wins and losses aren't there, but they recognize talent. You have two guys that finished in the top 4 in the rookie Calder Trophy voting and also made the first team all-rookie all-star team. That is what you want. That is, if you're looking back on this season and the first half was great, then we always talk about that second half and the regression both sides. Well, this was progression. We get to sit back from 30,000 and go, okay. And then I'll even go even more, because you look at what Arvidsson and Berggren and Seider, all these guys, they're getting awards in their leagues too, right? Which shows you, wow, doesn't mean everything, but it shows you that there's talent out there viewed from not just inside your organization, but outside your organization.
I think it's pretty symbolic too. That was Steve Yzerman's first draft pick, Mo Seider, correct?
And remember everybody like questioning who's this or whatever like that. Like, just sit back. If at the end of the day there's a couple things. Yes, the league recognized what we know, which should give you a pat on the back. And for everybody out there, I'm wearing my grind. If you haven't checked this out, the Grindline podcast, one of the best, because I call them all these kids, right, that have that passion, that have stuck through it, and given their opinions and have gone through one of the tougher years, especially second half. But these are your guys. So you should take pride in cheering for these guys and what they're doing, because at the end of the day, and this is what I love, like I said it before, what I loved is, yes, it's great to be respected individually and get these, but the first thing is now it's about team wins and to win team, and they're all there together culturally. It's a big move that Yzerman knows in building these guys what they have to send Dylan Larkin down there. Like that's the little things that really matter.
Yeah, and again, for me, very symbolic, because that was his first draft pick, and boom. And I'll put my hand in the air. You know me, D-Mac. Like, I'll look the camera and say when I was wrong. I was like a defenseman from a kid defenseman from Germany. Like, I know he's big and everything, but for real, like that's it.
Oh,
and here
real.
He is now.
Yeah,
hey, for real.
Listen,
yeah, exactly.
You don't think I questioned Steve Yzerman many times?
Really?
I disagreed over it. Not in his hockey acumen, but just questioned him. Period, back in the day, but 99.9% of the time he's right.
Yeah. And
I'm waiting for him to be wrong so I can sit up here and go, he got it wrong. He missed that one. He just doesn't. And I don't expect to have to do it.
Right.
But I will.
I got a Wings question for you when we come back, though. And people have asked it in the YouTube chat thread, and I don't want to shoehorn it in here right now. I want to let you freestyle on it, because it does, with this happening, this does make me look towards what's next and what has to happen. And if you guys want to get action, hey, you want to bet on Josh Parisian on UFC this weekend? MyBookie.com is the play. Stanley Cup Finals. They're getting ready to get thick, I think. And then you'll have UFC this weekend, as we said, and certainly baseball in the middle of the season. Before you know it, you'll be betting on preseason football. Some people do it. I don't know. If you want to, MyBookie.com, the place to do it. Sign up for a new account. Use the promo code Woodward, and they'll match part of your first deposit in the form of free bets up to 50%. That is right. So you have a little extra chips at your disposal, courtesy of MyBookie. Bet on anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Have a gambling problem? Be an adult. Let's get this together, everyone. Call the Michigan Gambling Hotline, 1-800-270-7117.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. Baby, talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
It took exploring 50 different formulas and hosting countless taste tests, but we believe Gypsy Vodka is the smoothest vodka on the market. Don't believe us? Ask the owners.
We're Mike and Adam Kazanowski with High Five Spirits Distillery. We're in close to about 1,200 locations throughout Michigan. We wanted to create a brand that was geared more towards freedom, love, adventure, and at the end of the day, we really wanted to tell a story that inspired other people to take risk, follow their dreams, whatever that might be.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Ribbit, D-Mac here for Big Frog. When you need apparel, there's only one place to go. That's Big Frog in Novi with no setup fees, no artwork fees, no minimum, and a 24-hour turnaround. You can have your whole team outfitted in no time. Embroidery, direct-to-garment, vinyl, and screen printing. Big Frog has the styles you want. Visit bigfrog.com/Novi or call 844-4BIG-FROG. That's 844-4BIG-FROG. BigFrog.com/Novi. Tell them Big D Energy sent you.
Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neal Ruhl, D-Mac, Darren McCarty, Spencer Raxter. Of course, we have Sam Flannel. What day are we on, Sam Flannel?
81.
81 days of Flannel. On his way to 360. He's not even to the quarter pole yet. You didn't know that when you signed on for this, did you? Like, you knew, but you didn't know.
I mean, it feels like I've been wearing a flannel forever, but you're right. I'm not even at the quarter point. I mean, what am I at? What is the quarter point? 324? Is it like this is a quarter of 324, and then I still got 41 more days to go after that? Damn. But you know what? It's okay. For the network, I got it.
Mickey Redmond's a big fan of you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, just two of the greats, two of the flannel greats out there.
Two of the greats. Two of the greats.
Mike G wants to know, can Big Frog help Toronto to leap out of the first round?
No. No.
I mean, they could print them shirts,
right? They
could
print them shirts and help them. That's say Toronto, leap, go.
Yeah. My question to you, D-Mac. So, obviously, Seider wins the Calder. Lucas Raymond got a first-place vote. I think it was Harley Fife that asked, did he get any votes? Lucas Raymond did get one first-place vote for the Rookie of the Year. And a couple people have asked it in the chat, so I'll just kind of wrap it all up into one ball, put a little spin on it, and send it your way. The big disappointment, the sense I got from you coming out of last year was just organizationally, structurally. You thought you might have had 3 defensemen. You got 1.5. And that seems to be the story. So through all this, D-Mac, and the future's bright, and it looks like Stevie Y is running the draft playbook the same way he ran it in Tampa. Everything looks on course for that. So what do you do now? Like this offseason, what do you do now? And I'm not saying you got to go out. I'm more patient than most, I guess. I'm not saying you're going to go out and pay Evgeny Malkin, who's a free agent, $9 million or anything like that. Doesn't make a lot of sense. But, I mean, you go through the free agency list because that's what we do. Malkin and Subban and Giroux and Kessel and Chris Letang and Matthew Tkachuk, who's a restricted free agent. He's going to get himself a nice little deal.
Sure.
No doubt about that. What's the play, D-Mac? If you had to give the win now people something, what's the play this offseason? Or is there no play?
No, I think the most important thing next is the coach. But here's the one thing, right? You're bringing into a coach where you have some of the young pieces or the building blocks to what you want. And not only the draft picks coming up, the guy I didn't mention was Sebastian Cossa, played in the Memorial Cup for the Edmonton Wheat Kings right now, who's supposed to be your future, hence like a Vasilevsky in Tampa. What's next is to find out who the coach. I expect the coach to be announced before the draft takes place. You use those assets, and we see what's going on. We could be making some moves and making some trades. That's the one thing I think, Neal, more than anything, because looking at the free agent draft of who you want to commit money to, I don't really see a guy that would be here in 3-4 years as a future. But that doesn't mean the guy can't be traded. That doesn't mean there's a contract that's out there already that can't be eaten up, maybe with one of these ones. Okay, some team views it as a bad contract, right? Stevie's got capital where he takes it, and then a year under their belt here, they re-sign, and you've got a guy at a deal. We've seen Stevie make moves like that. So know this, right? You not only hit on the kids that you were supposed to hit on, you hit on them big with their first year. So they got to progress, right? Everybody's sort of got to take that step forward. Now, the big thing is there is some defensemen, like I mentioned, in Irvitson coming up, but there's an opportunity, especially for defensemen, and whether you're already in the organization or you could try out or get signed, but that's the big spot, right, Neal? the big spot here where to be able to play is defense. And you're going to worry about the offense too. He's got to make decisions on, we still got guys like Zadina. So I think when you look at it, and you always talk about it with draft capital, and you always talk about it with salary cap, it's trimming off the fat of the old contracts too, right? Danny DeKeyser, is one that's going to come off the books.
Yeah, he's off. And just to update you real quick on that, you got just over $1 million you got to pay Abdelkader this year, and you got to pay Franz Nielsen $500,000 more dollars, but that's the last of it, and then it's off the books.
Right, and then you're working, like you mentioned, Mo Seider was Steve Eisman's first draft pick. So now really, once he's got the books clean,
now it's his team.
It's sort of like the start. Like, I know last year we could say it's like the one year into it with the start because he got guys on the ice, but it's more of the same thing, right? It's more of the same thing. I don't expect the splash, right, Neal, that everybody's looking for because we're not ready yet. But he's going to save that money so that when he needs to throw the splash, bing, bang, boom, he can bring guys in. It's tough for any team to bring in guys with the pedigree of like a Brett Hull and a Dominic Hasek and a Luc Robitaille at the same time. Steve Eisman's positioned himself to be able to, if he wants that option, to be able to use it. I just think this year it's more about galvanizing and still, it's the patience. But the next question is, who's the coach? Who's the coach?
Right.
Right, and everybody's starting to get a little bit frustrated. The more that it's gone on, it tells me, wait till the finals are over, right? He wants to have that conversation with somebody who's still in the finals, which, if I'm speculating, it's one of the assistants of John Cooper and Lalonde or even Jeff Halpern.
And why would you not? Because
they win? Oh.
Yeah, well, I mean, the playbook.
Yeah.
He's running. You can see him running the same playbook.
Right.
The draft, acquiring draft capital.
It's working.
Right. Like, he's doing it all. Like, he's doing exactly what it appeared he was going to do, and he's doing it. He is running.
He's doing what he says. Listen to him. He tells you. Right?
Right. No, absolutely. Franz Nielsen, man, 38. $500,000 on the cap this year. That will bother me. And low key, I know Jordan Zimmerman was an abject failure, but low key, that's the worst low key contract in Detroit sports history. Sorry, it is.
There's a couple. There's a couple over the last time. Stephen Weiss's wasn't.
Stephen Weiss, it's 1 and 1A, man. Like but that's
the
what
fact
it is.
Like now we're talking about it as the past.
Right.
Right.
Well, one more year.
Right at that right, exactly at 500.
Yeah, I'm bitter. I'm bitter about it.
It's okay.
I'm petty and I'm bitter about it.
You're definitely petty. But so that's the thing. So my question is to the fans: if Steve keeps bringing or producing or guys that are in the conversation to beyond the Rookie of the Year, right? To win the Calder Trophy, to be up there or whatever. It's the consistency of who do you have coming next. Is that you nailed it, Neal? It's 100%. He's got his own. He's got his playbook. He's the Red Wing one and whatever he put together and whatever like that and set up Tampa this way and then I'm going to change this. I'm going to do this a little different this time. But when we're sitting here and today is June 22nd, right? Lot better feeling today than I did at the end of the season, than I did the second half of the season, right?
Yeah.
When we get to
I think I finally put that to bed.
30,000 feet and just say, hey, you know what? Yeah, there was regression, like Stevie said, but I think we're in good shape, even better than maybe I would have speculated, because you know what? Now the league knows we're coming.
What about this? Austin Matthews, Brandon Katz says Austin Matthews was not the MVP. He's a great scorer, but doesn't do a lot on defense. McKinnon and McDavid are both more valuable than he is. Matthews is a great scorer, but he's not a leader. McKinnon does everything. And I figured it was going to happen, like the Austin Matthews love fest would continue, but there is no way that any hockey person anywhere in the world, if we sat down and said, you can take any player in the NHL and start your team, Connor McDavid's the best player in the NHL. The Austin Matthews MVP is a lot like the one Steve Nash got in front of Shaq. It's really Connor McDavid's MVP because he's really the best player in the league, and it's not close.
No, but here's the whole thing where I disagree. Because the players voted. That's the Ted Lindsay. Austin Matthews won that. bottom line. So then he get the heart, because the players say, you know what? Yeah, Connor, individually you may be, but this season that Austin Matthews had with 61 goals, and they play. So, yeah, I don't go by the Hart Trophy because that's more the popularity contest, who gets the most points. But the fact that it was consistent, that Ted Lindsay voted by the players, so that's your brethren. So that's what they thought. So, Neal, yes to your fact that if you give me first overall pick, right, it's probably McDavid, right? But the players,
he's
the
good.
players
I mean, no
have
doubt he's
spoken
good.
for the year.
Sure.
They said he had the better year. The disparaging thing is Leon Draisaitl has 55 goals and 110 points.
And no one even knows.
Ninth in, like, no one, oh, man. That's nothing. I'm like, are you kidding me? So that's the only reason, because Austin Matthews won the Ted Lindsay's the one that you pay attention to because it's voted by the players, not by the media.
Dave Schultz says Franz Nielsen was a standard Ken Holland signing. No, it was. And that, again, I'm going to be bitter about it. I just am, because still dealing with it. This year, still dealing with it. But, you have to move on. I just want to address it, and now we're prepared to move on from it. Speaking of moving, if you want to move, get into your local Planet Fitness. It's home of the Judgment Free Zone, where you can work out in a non-intimidating, judgment-free atmosphere. Membership starts at just $10 per month, all the way on up to the Black Card option for $24.99 a month. Yes, less than $1 a day. Get you use of all the amenities, the unlimited tanning, the hydro massage chairs, total body enhancement, and you get access to more than 2,000 Planet Fitnesses around the world with unlimited guest privileges. You basically own the place when you're a Black Card member. That's a good way to think of it. You can join today in club. You're going to pass a couple on the way home, pull into the parking lot, join there, or go to planetfitness.com. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you. It's Planet Fitness, D-Mac,
where your fitness is essential.
It took exploring 50 different formulas and hosting countless taste tests, but we believe Gypsy Vodka is the smoothest vodka on the market. Don't believe us? Ask the owners.
We're Mike and Adam Kazanowski with High Five Spirits Distillery. We're in close to about 1,200 locations throughout Michigan. We wanted to create a brand that was geared more towards freedom, love, adventure, and at the end of the day, we really wanted to tell a story that inspired other people to take risk, follow their dreams, whatever that might be.
6 dark corners, a driveway and a patio, 5 windows that could become doors. Every house has unique security challenges. Guardian Alarm has more tech, more team, and more ways to help keep them all safe. Get a professionally designed and installed security and smart home system from Guardian Alarm. Sign up today and get a free video device. Guardian Alarm. Smart, right from the start. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT.
Boom! Comeback victory for those White Sox yesterday. Boo-boo! That's 7 out of 8 winners I gave you on this segment. Hopefully, you've been tailing along. You got to make sure you're watching us over at the Woodward Bet Show at 4:30. And you also got to make sure you've already downloaded oddstrader.com from the App Store. It's got live scoring, play-by-play updates, and it's the best place to compare all the odds and all the sports books right in the palm of your hand. Hey, let's get back to that winner so we can stay hot and keep getting us some fun coupons. Let's just bounce back with the Red Sox today against our Tigers. Skubal's given up 9 earned runs in his last 9 innings. Waka's been pitching pretty well. Let's just stay with the better team, hotter pitcher. Oddstrader.com. Woodward Bets. Check it out.
Our friends at Alta Equipment know that when it comes to getting your job completed on budget and on schedule, uptime matters. That's why Alta Equipment is partnered with the biggest names in construction. So you have a big project coming up, Alta Rents has you covered with the most diverse rental fleet in Michigan. There's nothing your project can throw at you that Alta can't handle. So give them a call today, 844-GO-TO-ALTA. That's 844-GO-TO-ALTA. Alta Equipment, where uptime matters.
Pulling up on the second hour of the show, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neal Ruhl, D-Mac, Darren McCarty, Sam Flannel is here, Spencer Raxter here as well. Happy to have you all with us. That's right. That's who it is. If you missed the first hour of the show, we talked to UFC heavyweight fighter Josh Parisian, Michigan's own. He'll be at UFC on ESPN 38 coming up this weekend in Las Vegas at the UFC Apex. So check that out on Saturday night. I believe they're the third to last fight of the night. So if you're sitting at home Saturday night, flip on the fight, root for a local guy, man.
Absolutely. That's what we're all about here. So if he he said if you see him standing up, being unorthodox, he's having fun.
He's having fun. Pretty much even money. Big matchup for him against Alain Badeau coming up. A couple of guys, as you said, D-Mac, as you talked to him about, a couple of guys that are on the last fight of their deals. So literally fighting for their life.
That's what it is. Like for more times than not, if you turn that on, understand that these guys do not have another fight lined up.
Yeah, so they're, as you said, a little fighting for their life. I want to get into this discussion, and Spencer did a good job with this, certainly with the way that he worded it here. He asked the question, Spencer said, is Jerami Grant not worth what the Pistons want for him? And give me the background, Spence, because the NBA is your lane. You know, the Atlanta Hawks, I guess, were rumored to do a deal. What was it looking like?
Yeah, so we got to hear the Hawks deal was supposedly the Hawks' 16th pick and Bogdanovich, and that was pushed by the Pistons. The Pistons were the aggressor in that, and you see it here, a report from Mark Stein saying the Atlanta Hawks were cool to the idea of acquiring Jerami Grant from the Detroit Pistons for Bogdanovich and the 16th overall pick in the 2022 NBA draft, according to NBA insider Mark Stein. Stein reported the Pistons were the more interested of the two parties. So this is just a casual case you see of maybe us overvaluing a player's worth. We tend to do that a lot in Detroit, and is that what we're doing with Jerami Grant? This might be Troy Weaver holding out in the ultimate game of chicken, and you see someone get desperate on draft night and make a trade like this. But it seems that the rest of the NBA isn't as convinced that Jerami Grant is the caliber of player that the Pistons are.
Huh, and it's interesting because he seems to be taking on a lot of slander,
yes.
and everybody keeps pointing to my guy Adam Beydoun, who is maybe leading that charge. But it goes back to me where 20-point-a-game guys, that's been the nemesis for the Pistons to get for a very, very long time, man. Yeah. Guys that can get buckets and stuff like that. And yes, Chuck says you got to take these reports with a grain of salt. I would say that, and Brandon Katz says Atlanta doesn't need Grant. They have many wings and Collins. And would they be using him as more of a 4 option at the 4 for Atlanta?
That would be like a whole small ball kind of thing, like maybe Collins. They're talking about moving from Collins, too. So they don't think he's going to be a part of their immediate future. So we'll see what goes on with that. But, yeah, Jerami Grant can slide into the 4 and play small ball 4 anywhere in the league.
Man Guy Friend Bro says everyone sees him as valuable as we do, a fan base that desperately wants to get rid of him. Like, Sam, what's the problem? Like, why the hate with this dude?
Man Guy Friend Bro.
Man Guy Friend Bro, I like that.
Yeah.
It's because he's gotten buckets the last 2 years, but what has it really gotten the Pistons? More losing. He's inefficient as a 6'8 scorer. He shoots 42%. And if you're 6'8 and shoot 42%, if you're Allen Iverson, you can understand. If you're Jerami Grant, that's just not good enough. But if you're a team that sees him as the final piece to kind of put you over the top, I can understand why you would want him. But for the Pistons, I think he's a little bit above useless. And I know that's harsh, but he hasn't really done anything to help play winning basketball. And I'm sorry, that's just how I feel. That's what I've seen.
That's what he said about me playing for the Wings, isn't it? It's pretty close. I guess me and Jerami Grant got stuff in common. My question is, how much do you really think like this is just posturing? Like posturing to the fact that because the draft's tomorrow. So is there somebody out there? Because a lot of times it's not the teams when you hear the trades. Yes, they're having the talks, but they're trying to get the guy in the weeds who's waiting to pop his head out. Do you feel that it's some of that, or do you feel to what Spencer's saying? Detroit is trying to move him, and it could be something that they more get rid of him, because I don't think that's is Bogdan. How many points is Bogdan?
He's like a 15-point-a-game guy. He's
so you're gonna have to need him and somebody else to fill it.
Yeah,
like,
he's a better shooter.
Does that make sense to you guys though? With what you get at 16, with that, does that?
I don't hate that deal for the Pistons.
No, I like it.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
I like Bogdanovich as a player. He's a shooter. He doesn't have Grant's defensive capabilities, but he's solid on defense. He's a little smaller.
I thought Sam just said that he was just pulched. He just stunk defensively.
Yeah, I didn't say that. I didn't say that about I didn't say anything about Jerami Grant's defense. But you're right about Bogdanovich. If you look at his 2020-21 season, he was phenomenal. He was 44% from three.
Yeah.
And he was one of the reasons why the Atlanta Hawks were so good. And then last year he took a bit of a step back, and the Hawks weren't as good. So the one thing that worries me about Bogdanovich is he had 1 year that was clearly better than the rest. But right now, would I take that deal for Jerami Grant? I probably would.
Sammy Flannel's getting a Pistons flannel jersey with Bogdanovich on it. Look out, boys and girls.
Bogdanovich hovers around that 40% from three, 52% from the field kind of guy. Like he's a solid. He's a gun for hire. He's a shooter. You know what you're getting for him.
Yeah, and he's $18 million, I think, a year. He's got 2 years left on his deal. Like and here's the thing, because I got this question on the YouTube chat thread. DNCENT says, Neal, as a salary cap guy, are you paying him $28 million a year at 33 years old? And I think the floating deal out there is the 4 for 120. That's the ballpark that we're talking about. The 4 for 120. So you'd have him, I think, through age 32. And I think what this boils down to is the known versus the hope. Just in terms of like the number 16 pick, you know what I'm saying?
Right. So here's my question. What would it mean if they did make that move? So let's say right now, boom, the move's made. We got Bogdanovich, right? The 16th pick, the 5th pick. Now does it change your mindset of how the direction this team's going? Right? I get what you're saying as far as the known commodity of what Jerami Grant gets you. Now, is this something also, too, dependent on who you get at number 5?
That I got to see the finished, you know what I'm saying? You got to see the finished product at that
point. Let's say Benedict. What's his?
Cumberbatch.
Yeah, I want to say Cumberbatch. You get him, right? Like, because if that's the guy that you wanted, or if you get the guy there, could be Troy Weaver be feeling around to determine, could that have some play on it? Depending on who that guy that they get at 5 to go with Cade, what are they putting together moving forward?
I think it reinforces this point here by Chuck. So, oh my God, there's no other talent on this team. He's been hurt for a couple years and had no talent his first year when he was here. And I subscribe to that theory too. Again, it's 20 a game. Now, is it at all optimum efficiency? No, but he's not a max player either. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not paying him $42 million or $45 million like you're trapped with Russ and Harden and all those guys.
John Wall.
John Wall.
So to answer the question is that you would give him 4 for 120?
I'm leaning towards that. Yeah, because you and look, because of the known. Because I know what I'm going to get. I mean, the health thing is the health thing, right? Like he's got to stay healthy. Like how often did Cade and him play together this year? We asked him the question.
No,
he said he thought about it all the time.
So when we get back to it, because when we had Jerami Grant on earlier in the year, and we asked them about do they think about it, and they talk about it. So if they're talking about it, they know they're in there with Troy Weaver talking about it, stuff like this. So is this the big play that they're going to get a chance to be healthy and move forward? Which, as long as it doesn't affect what you could get in return if you're eventually going to trade him, or if you're gonna give him the money.
What about this, Sam Flannel? And this is posed to you. I'm posing this one to you. Duke Nukem put on the YouTube chat thread, and I do believe there is some validity to this. Grant's inefficient because of the quality of shots he has to take as a number 1 scoring option. As a 3rd or 4th option on a team, his efficiency will blow up.
Well, and you've seen it. You saw it in Oklahoma City. You saw it in Denver. He was actually a very efficient scorer. But on this particular team, I don't know if he's ever going to be at the point where he's the 3rd or 4th option. And right now, I still think he's number 1. And that's why I said at the beginning, if you're a contending team that thinks he's your final piece, he's your 3 or 4, you should absolutely go after a guy like Jerami Grant. I just don't think he's right for this Pistons team right now.
I think it boils down to this, and obviously Troy Weaver knows this. There's no question. It comes down to, are you going to sign him to an extension or no? Because if you're not, is the value ever going to get higher than it is now?
Probably not. I mean,
What he's in a walk year next year.
Yep.
Is he more valuable at the trade deadline next year? But you run the risk at that time where the only people that are going to be into him are contenders.
Right.
So you're not getting any prime draft capital for him. It's weird though. Like I'm starting to come around to the side now of do the deal. Like I'm literally going back and forth on this right now, because now as you all encompass it and you think about timing and your market is more limited at the playoff deadline, just in terms of what you can pull back on. Are the Atlanta Hawks or the Portland Trailblazers, are they going to be interested in him at the trade deadline next year? I don't know.
Guess it depends on how their season goes, what they need, if they have any injuries, which it happens every year.
Because Portland's going to be bad, right? I mean,
if they don't get any help for Damian Lillard, yes, they'll be bad. They won't even make the playoffs with the roster they construct now.
So, are you? And if you take a interested party out of the mix, that hurts the value.
Yeah, because what would Jerami Grant really add to this Portland Trailblazers team? He might make them a 6 seed at best, but I don't even think that. Maybe 7 or 8 are play-in games. So why would the Trailblazers want to do that?
Because they want to keep Dame. Chauncey's going to be coaching for his coaching life. So that's the only thing that I could see being possible of getting the best return is that Portland pick. I don't think it's very likely, but Jerami Grant added to that team, it would put them in that play-in, 6 to 8 range. So I don't know if that would be what Portland wants to do for their future, but if they're looking to make Dame happy right now, I think that would be a move that could be possible, but it's not likely.
Yeah, so I keep going around in circles about it, and I that's what it boils down to me. Are you going to sign him to the extension or no?
So my question is, before the Pistons draft at number 5 tomorrow, do you think Jerami Grant will be traded or no?
I think if he's not traded this offseason, they're going to sign him to an extension.
Okay.
I'd agree with that.
I think that the writing's on the wall for that.
I think that there has to be something too. If we have to see who they get at 5,
right?
Whether it goes with the bigger plan. I think they have I think they have contingency plans. I think they can go a bunch of different ways right now, and then I don't think they have to. That's why the only thing I hope in return is that they get good deals in the offer. So when you guys say, "Hey, that's a good return," or you see it's a balanced return instead of just trying to frivolously get rid of it. But again, I digress because I forgot it was Troy Weaver, not Al Avila.
Ooh, that burns.
I woke up early and chose violence.
That's got to be.
Can you please say that again?
I woke up early and I chose violence. That one?
Yes. We need that one, Sam Flannel. We need that one, Sam Flannel. Golf was going great yesterday. And, we were feeling it. We were having a good time. And then we cracked open some mulligans and took it to the next level, everybody. It is the official drink of summer. Go to Woodward Sports Twitter. Did a little impromptu mulligan commercial. The mulligan, it's made with Gypsy Vodka. Whether you're out on the golf course, hanging out in the backyard, the mulligan is calling your name. Ask for the mulligan at your local golf course. Or go to Total Wine and buy a whole case of it. Keep it in your fridge. I think this weekend the mulligan's going to be the after lawn mow play.
Whoa!
I think.
How many?
One. They are 8%, everybody. So just everybody, calm down. All right, with the mulligans. All right, just everybody calm down. But they are the official drink of summer, made by our friends locally in Petoskey, Michigan. Gypsy Vodka, man, they can do anything. Love Gypsy Vodka. As always, drink responsibly.
Life is full of hard choices. We're here to make one of life's biggest decisions as simple as possible. My name is Christina Gennari, and for over 20 years, I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes. We cover all of Metro Detroit and more, from large luxury homes to starter homes. We will work hard to make sure that you get the home of your dreams. So if you're in the market today or even thinking about buying or selling in the future, make the obvious choice. Christina Gennari, the obvious choice in real estate. Visit us at soldchristina.com today.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991, Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
What's going on, everybody? It's Spencer for the Foaling Warehouse in Hamtramck. You know it, you've heard of it. It's the original home of the football bowling pin game called Foaling. Multiple different ways you can play. They've got $12 open unlimited play where you can go in, stay open till close, have a great time. Or they have private lane reservation, $120, 10 to 12 people. You can bring in any type of food you want. If you get thirsty, they've got a $2 mystery beer vending machine where you pop in $2, pops you out a good beer. They also have multiple fully loaded bars if you want to make a decision. So come down to Hamtramck and check them out in person or visit them online at foalingwarehouse.com. Again, that is foalingwarehouse.com.
Mystery Beer Machine. Big D Energy. Woodward Sports Network. Neal Ruhl, D-Mac, Darren McCarty, Sam Flannel, Spencer Raxter here in the building. And we got all of you on our YouTube channel. Appreciate you smashing the like button and all of that. Happy to be chopping it up with you guys and talking about sports. There's certainly worse things in the world to be doing right now. And Spencer, I told you guys he's been on his game here. You know, as far as topic creation and show sheet creation and all of it. And this one, for me, slaps, I think. It does. Who's the Lions' real divisional rival, D-Mac? And they're all viable candidates. And certainly there's going to be a lot of Aaron Rodgers hate out there. And they put the top 10 rivalries all time. And the Lions versus the winning record. That one got some chuckles and everything like that. Bears and Packers just because they played over 200 times. So, that gets the longevity one. But, ha-ha, hee-hee, get your laughs in and everything like that. Who's the Lions' biggest?
Well, I think I'm going to steal your thunder here, Neal. But the true fact of the matter, if you want to know that your team, the Detroit Lions, are legit, is that when they start dominating and first beating, then dominating the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings are they're the consistency and the stalwart. The Packers will always be the Packers, especially when they have the quarterback and stuff like this at the top, and you can always want to knock them off. But really, the consistency is what Minnesota does. And the fact even to that if you cannot beat a Kirk Cousins quarterback team, right, that's where you have to start. Forget Aaron Rodgers, start there. Now the rivalry-wise, if they're good or whatever, might be the Bears, just because of the old school mentality. But I don't think you don't want to be using the Bears as where your organization is. But where Minnesota is, the consistency with the receivers, the DBs, they're solid every year. What is the knock on Minnesota? They're a perennial 500 team or right above it. They can never get over the edge, win the big game. But they're consistent. They're a consistent winning, team, right? That gets there. And I think that for us to shoot and say, okay, we want to be the Minnesota Vikings of the North, what they used to be. And in that way, what does that mean? It means you're competing and contending against usually the Green Bays at the top of the division, or the way that the Packers are going and everything right now, it could be you and Minnesota for this division for the next 5 years.
For me, because when you talk about rival, for me that means hatred. Now, if you want to talk about stakes and where it sits right now, obviously the Packers are the class of the division and have been since Aaron Rodgers, became the starting quarterback. But for me, when you ask me as a Lions fan, as a former season ticket holder, who is my biggest rival as far as the Detroit Lions are concerned? And it is the Minnesota Vikings. And here's why it is, D-Mac.
We want to be them.
The
rivalry is that, and I don't care what it is, and I would ask Dennis yesterday, the terminal Lions fan, would have been a question for it, because in the deep down, we know that that's where we should be. If we were consistent, why can't we consistently not be Minnesota, right? Because they don't do it the greatest, but they do it consistently the Minnesota way, and they seem to always have our number. And they have that cold weather, that sort of mentality, and you know what? They punch us in the face, right? Like at different times, and we sort of ignore it. right? We sort of ignore it like an abusive relationship because we're always focused on the Packers because it's always about the Packers.
Right.
Right? We never go, well, can we just, right, if Minnesota's not the Packers, can't we start with them? And maybe we should look on dominating them.
For me, though, again, when you talk about rival, I hate the Minnesota Vikings. I hate the purple color scheme. I hated the Metrodome when they played the Metrodome. I hate that stupid horn that one fan blows into all the time that you always hear on television. I hate the fact that everybody talks about them like there's some good franchise or things like that. You want to talk... Minnesota Vikings are the Iowa or Purdue of the NFC. You always hear about them. Before every season, they're saying, oh, watch out for the Minnesota Vikings this year. This defense is incredible. Or Dalvin Cook's one of the best running backs in football. You always hear it. You never see it with the Minnesota Vikings. They're the ones that I hate. As a Lions fan, I hate the Minnesota Vikings, and I love beating them. Again, the purple color scheme, the stupid horn, all the expectations that get heaped on them all the time, they never deliver. Ever. They never win a big game. Matter of fact, when you go through some of the biggest losses of all time, the Minnesota Vikings are usually attached to it. They get to the Super Bowl. They never win. I hate the Minnesota Vikings. Hate them. Hate the Minnesota Vikings. To me, they're the Lions' biggest rival. And D-Mac, you said it like, I don't want to be the Minnesota Vikings. No. I don't want that awful color scheme. I don't want that stupid horn on the top of their helmet that nearly connect at the back of the That's always bothered me an abnormal amount too. How those stupid horns almost connect at the top of the helmet. I can't take that. I can't take any of it. Hate the Minnesota Vikings.
I get it. And, Rich Diana brings up a covert fact I didn't know is that, we had a 22-game winless streak against those guys, right? That's 22, right? That's like a quarter of the way to the flannels, like how many days he's worn his flannel. I mean, that 22 is a lot in sports and stuff like that. And you say you don't want to be the Minnesota Vikings?
No.
But you should. No. But you have to strive. And if you're being 100% honest with yourself, you have to strive to be. You should be blessed to be the Minnesota Vikings. Now, you need to move past there, but that's the first step where you need to be. And if you can be that, because what did you say, Neal? Think about it. We all remember Rodgers throwing the touchdown, the Hail Mary. But how many Minnesota games have come down to it, or they've beaten us in a game early in the season to get off to a good record, or drubbed us in play?
It all comes back to that stupid-ass Metrodome. That's what it all comes back to. The stupid-ass Metrodome with that stupid horn that they blow into. It always comes back to that for me. And it always will. And, one of the greatest offenses of all time and maybe one of the greatest receivers of all time. And then they lose to the Falcons. And I love that. I wish I could have injected that into my veins when they lost to the Falcons in that NFC Championship game. And their kicker hadn't missed a field goal all year long, and he misses one in that game. That was my high. You know what? For a team,
that's your Lions fan height is watching Minnesota.
Yeah, lose. Now Barry would always cook them when they played in the Metrodome, so that was a lot of fun. But my ultimate Lions moment, as far as rooting against my rival, was when the Vikings lost to the Falcons. That was incredible for me. But I just can't. I can't take them, man. I can't take them. That guy 62. Damn, Neal. Tell him why you're mad, son. Well, yeah, that's why. And the capper. And I know this is weird. I agree, it's weird. The capper of it all, the things that really sets me off, is how those horns almost touch on the back. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. Those horns, they almost touch
now we're not
on the back of their helmet.
Be able to see it from now on. How about Sam? Is there a detestable opponent in this division?
It's funny because I was thinking the Bears, but honestly, Neal, you've made a compelling case. And another thing is the Vikings are actually, their all-time record against the Lions is 79-40-2. And they're not the type of franchise that you would think would just destroy the Lions. But, like you said, Neal, in the 70s, they made 4 Super Bowls, lost all of them. I'm sure that makes you very, very happy. But they still were a damn good franchise. And that game where they lost to the Falcons in the NFC Championship, I actually don't like that because that team was just so exciting. Imagine them playing the Broncos in that Super Bowl. When the Falcons won that game, that just meant that the Broncos had an easy win. But, I understand the Vikings.
No, then make a field goal at home and win the game then.
That's the thing.
Be the best offense of all time, I was told, and win a game at home.
That is very
Like, rise
fair.
up to the moment one time. But you're the Vikings, and you never do.
Absolutely, and they choked that game away. They performed horribly in all 4 Super Bowls that they were in. Go look back. They got killed in every single one of them. And Fran Tarkenton, you look at the games he played in those Super Bowls, yikes.
Trash.
Absolutely. And
They're
then
trash.
Joe Cap in the first one. Remember the great Joe Cap? He was trash in that Super Bowl against Kansas City.
The great Joe Cap. All right, that's enough. That's enough.
You lost me, and I was born.
Yeah, Sam Flannel, that's enough. Steve-O Baby says, Neal, what would you rather hear, forward down the field or that Vikings horn? I would rather hear anything than that Vikings horn. And I'd rather hear my wife ask me to do something than hear the Vikings horn. For real. Like right after, I'd rather hear my wife ask me to do something right after I sat down, like 5 seconds after I sat down, than hear that Vikings horn. You know what I'm talking about? Like right when you sit down.
Yeah, exactly. And they hit you with it.
Sometimes I'll pump fake sitting down. Like I'll do that.
Oh, you will?
Yeah,
oh,
just
nice.
to see, and that's when I know that it's safe to sit down.
Savage. I think. What about you, Spence? Do you think it's Minnesota?
I don't really think it matters, honestly, until we're good. I don't think we can have a rival until we're a good team.
Well put. Because you know what? That is winning.
Yeah.
That's winning, Spence.
Yeah.
Attaboy, winning mentality.
Francis Garcia, Purple People Eaters is the lamest moniker ever. You know what, Frank? You're right. Purple People Eaters is stupid. It's stupid. And I got nothing against the color purple.
Something else.
People were saying, man, Neal doesn't like. I got nothing against the color purple. Purple rain. Who doesn't like purple rain?
Purple rain.
I mean, come on.
Purple rain.
It's the Vikings purple. And so stupid horns on the helmet, man. God, it's that dumb.
You love me, Barney. He's purple.
Yeah, you can't hate Barney.
No, not at all.
But I hate that Vikings purple, man.
Hey.
Sports marketing agency, they help spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse disorder. Their podcast is called This is the F Word. It helps spread awareness of fentanyl and the other addictions that, let's be real, people, are plaguing our communities right now. If you're struggling, or better yet even, if you know someone that's struggling, go to thesportsma.com. Again, that's thesportsma.com. It's a sports marketing agency. They're here to help.
Make sure you're listening to Woodward Sports all day long. Start your morning with the Morning Woodward Show. Spend middays with Big D Energy. Watch and listen your drive home with the Bottom Line. And don't forget about Woodward Bets Daily. All live, all right here on the Woodward Sports Network.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Neal Ruhl here for oddstrader.com, the number one site for all of your game day betting activity. Begin your handicapping journey at oddstrader.com. You get play-by-play updates, live scores, and bet tracking. All you got to do is download the OddsTrader app from the App Store today. They'll find you the best price on every game, probably the most important part out of all this. They'll monitor the sign-up offers from multiple sports books as well at oddstrader.com. Player stats, key game stats, it's all there for you. oddstrader.com. Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neal Ruhl, D-Mac, Darren McCarty, Sam Flannel, Spencer Raxter as well. Lots of LMAO, Neal. A lot of that in the YouTube chat thread. Hey, you know, we all get it. E-Fog there. I like it, Neal. Fuel the fire, baby. Brendan says, there must be a Vikings fan in here somewhere. Speak up. No, there's not. No, there's not, because who would like them? Like, if you're in Minneapolis, you have to. You don't have a choice. But no, there are no Vikings fan anywhere. And, okay, Rack. Vikings horn or Crystal with an X screaming every time she exhales? Oh, Crystal with an X all day long.
All day.
All day. Any part of that commercial. Any of
The
it.
only horn that was ever good was the old St. Louis building where they played the Budweiser theme song. You always like that one.
Brandon says that 15-1 Vikings team was an elite team. Gary Anderson just couldn't hit a field goal against Atlanta in the NFC Championship game. They were one of the best offensive teams in NFL history. Yeah, cool story. They lost to the Falcons at home. Inexcusable. If I were a Vikings fan, that loss would eat at me, man.
I think it hurts their fans more than those 70s Super Bowls because that team was elite. Gary Anderson choked. Yeah. He just did. And their defense gave up, 30 to Atlanta? It's inexcusable. It's their fault.
Spencer came up with this one, too. And, we like to talk some football here throughout the course of the summer. And this is a great one. And I think that this has the potential to be a regular thing. Redrafting the 2019 draft. Now, Spencer, what made you think about this? Just you're perusing social media and this popped up?
I was just perusing social media. This popped up. I looked at it, saw the Rashawn Gary in our hole. This is 2019 draft. That's Hawkinson, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so it's also topical because, Hawks coming up on a contract year. So what we could have got, we could have had DK Metcalf, Devin White, Rashawn Gary.
And these are fun, right? You always go back to it.
Hindsight.
Yeah. But everyone loves hindsight, man, because it's always 2020. And, it's the thing where I would think that people would take a look at it and, just be glad you didn't draft Dwayne Haskins like the Washington football team at the time. Or where are we, D-Mac, with the Washington football team vernacular? Do we call them the Washington football team when we're referring to them during the Washington football team years? Or can you call them the Commanders going back throughout the annals of time? Can you still call them the Redskins if you're talking like from the 90s? How does it work? What's the guidelines?
I believe that if the easiest way to explain is how if you would use Redskins, then I would take it pre-Washington football team roster. Think back to, if you mention the Redskins, I'm thinking Doug Williams and John Riggins.
Right.
And then if you mention
Mark Rippon,
you mention the Washington football team, then it's the Haskins era, stuff like this. Now it's the Commanders. It doesn't matter what it is. It's a mess. Look at Daniel Snyder, the owner, now probes in on this and that. I mean, like that. There's so many jokes, really not funny jokes out there in corporate America throughout, and the NFL is dealing with a whole bunch, and you never hear anything about it. So, I mean, that's the least of their worries. But, Neal, I don't think it's offensive either which way you say it. I know who you're talking about. I just think if you're commenting on a guy who played, if you're talking about Sean Taylor, being one of the greatest corners. Well, that was back when the Redskins, right?
Right.
Different things. So I don't really know. Looking at that list, who intrigues me? And I'm looking later down. And obviously, if you would have went Devin Bush Jr. or Rashawn Gary, would probably at the linebacker if you're going to repick for the Lions. But you look at Brian Burns, defensive end out of Carolina.
That's the one I got my eyes on, Spence.
That's, and you look at what he's done. I think he's only 25.5 sacks in his career, in a few years. So to me, that's, the one guy. The fact that we were picking 8 that year, I don't think that you could, but maybe you could pick Darnell Savage, take a safety. That I'm just looking at things that maybe would have helped us along the way. Now, looking at this draft, right, Neal? TJ Hawkinson could be one of the better players at the end of his career because really, looking at all these guys, there's no really world burners in there except for like Nick Bosa. Is there?
Yeah,
Nick Bosa would be the one guy. Is there anybody else that you put him on, Hall of Fame watch? But so that goes to show you really this draft was not that good.
And I was a huge Devin White guy, both during that time, certainly with what he did in Tampa. I mean, he was a missile.
See, but I was always looking at above 8.
Yeah, no doubt.
We can't get them.
Yeah, you can't get them because they're already taken. I get that.
Devin White, huge. So maybe there's another guy that you could put. But really, when you look back this year, what did Spencer uncover to me is that this was really a bit of a bare pickings draft, especially in the first round, right? Maybe the values later on in this draft, but it goes to show you when you look a few years out, how important. See, because the biggest thing when I look at you and talking about draft capital is these guys on rookie contracts, which ones that you don't have to re-sign, which ones that, like, sometimes it works out that way.
Debo Samuel was early second round of that draft too.
So that's what I'm saying. It's more to the deeper dive is who are the guys that outperformed, and it just goes to show it's such a crapshoot, right? The draft is such a crapshoot. You want to be able to hit on a bunch of guys, but it goes to show. But am I wrong, or does this, when you look at this whole list and stuff like this, really there's not an over-exuberant amount of stats or guys that I would consider players?
Yeah,
I mean, guys that jump out. Oh, he's on my fantasy team. Oh, he's on this fantasy team, right?
Big Play Jay says I was a big Ed Oliver guy, and Jay, so was I. Like when it came down to it, that's who I wanted. I wanted Ed Oliver, but obviously they ended up taking Hawkinson. It was as far as that went, and Oliver's been okay. He was 12 sacks in his 3 years so far. He's been okay. No, he's not a bust. He's not great. He's almost kind of T.J. Hawkinson-esque.
There you go, on the defense, right? He's the T.J. Hawkinson of the defense. Hawkinson's of the offense. So it is. And a lot of these guys still, Neal, because it is the 2019 draft, is that this is big years for them. We might be looking back and going, oh, remember he had a career year this year, or he had a career year. So I still have some hope for Hawkinson.
Do you?
To produce,
but he has to. Well, he if he wants to get that bread, man.
Well, you would know. You're the bag man.
Who'd you have on this, Spencer? Which way were you rolling?
I don't know. I'd like what D-Mac said. If you can only pick the guys that are under you, obviously, I would take DK Metcalf over. Just having an explosive receiver like that is super important.
Yeah, I would have reached back down to the Debo Samuel.
Yeah,
we're going full hindsight.
If he was still there, I'd take Debo Samuel. But out of the guys that were left on here, when we're picking, it's between Rashawn Gary, Devin White, DK Metcalf. I would probably go DK Metcalf.
Can't get Devin White. He went.
AJ Brown, right there. Max Crosby at 4
in the redraft.
Yeah, in the redraft.
Yeah.
Sam Flannel, who do you got?
So I feel like the premise of these questions are people that you could actually get. So I think that eliminates a Debo Samuel because he wasn't really
the crux of it was if you did the whole draft over again.
I mean, if you did the whole draft over again, I'd probably go with Debo Samuel. But that's true. But as far as like who I would actually get, who was realistic, Brian Burns. He was an elite pass rusher from day one, and is still an elite pass rusher, and that was obviously a need back then when Matt Patricia was the coach. So Matt Patricia might have ruined him anyway, but Brian Burns is that dude, and he's been that dude since day one. And Rashawn Gary has kind of had to develop into being that guy. He actually had, mediocre rookie year, and then he's kind of building up, and now he's a star. But it's Brian Burns for sure.
And there's some questions in the chat right now. People are asking because this is kind of what happens. 9 Drink says Sue's a free agent. Do we take a look? He said he wants to play this year.
He's not coming here.
And Francis Garcia says
we're not having him back.
Well, I mean, I'll always have the convo, to see what the number is.
You don't need him. He's a finisher.
Right.
He's going to go to finish.
Yes.
Finish it off. He's a finisher. We're not there yet. I'm saying that this was 5 years from now and it was Sue on his last contract. You better be talking to him if he's to get you over the hump.
Yeah. Francis Garcia says, hard pass on Sue as a Detroit fan. If you ever as a player don't want to be in my city, there's no way I'm ever taking you back. And, well, the Dolphins gave him more money and in a state with no state income tax.
Come on.
You got like 20% more money.
Winning. He was always, the foot was always out the door. He didn't want to be here. The thing is what you would say, and I would say, because I do have the same pride in the city, but if you want to be here, and at the end of his career, after he's got his money and his championship or whatever, his attitude would be different. So you'd want him here when he wanted to be here.
And that goes into what we were talking about.
He didn't get drafted where it wasn't his choice. It'd be his choice of coming back, which would be a different mentality.
And that's when we were talking about the other day, D-Mac, when we said, do you want to be a role player with rings, or do you want to be, a Hall of Famer without rings? And I always said I want the bag. Like I'm gonna get my bag secured until I'm not about the bag.
So that's
Sue's in that not about the bag phase right now.
Right. He's got his championship. He's got the bag. He's still about the bag, but he's more about if he wants to play, or you're hearing that he doesn't need to, but it's on his terms. Wherever he ends up, it's on his terms. I just think that more people than they let on would do the same type of thing.
100%.
100%. I want the bag secured.
Yes.
And then we'll fill it in.
Yeah.
After that.
You offer me that much money to go live in Florida, play with the
play Miami.
Yeah, I'm going
if you had that option. Not everybody has that option.
Right. That's also true. Hey, both things can be true, D-Mac, but there's only one true thing when it comes to the haircut game today.
Absolutely, and it's so easy when we broadcast here live from the Planet Fitness studio inside the headquarters of the global office of Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, 168 of them across the country, all the same, open from 10 to 8, 7 days a week. You walk in, you sign in, you sit down. Before you know it, bing, bang, boom, you're good to go. So get to a Lady Jane's near you. Tell them Big D Energy sent you. Why? Lady Jane's. It's wicked awesome. Woodward Sports Network. We'll be right back.
He's going deep, right side. Oh, that is Edwards out there. He goes up in the air at the goal line.
Hey, it's Brandon Edwards here, wanting to welcome the sports marketing agency to Woodward Sports Network, to the family. Glad to have you guys. For the last decade, the sports marketing agency has literally leveraged athletes around issues such as mental health and substance abuse.
Glad that we can finally start trying to get the stigma off of mental health that's been there for all these years.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Coming on the stretch here, Big D Energy, final couple segments of the show. Remember, Ask D-Mac coming up. In about 10 minutes from now, we have a special guest question that we will get to.
Interesting.
Yeah, so make sure you stick around for Ask D-Mac. Yeah, you're always open for the you're an open book.
I'm always for it.
Some Tigers news other than another loss last night in Boston. Chris Fetter announced that he is not leaving the Tigers. He took his name out of the running for the Michigan baseball job. Cody Stavenhagen said it, removed his name. Recently informed A.J. Hinch and Al Avila he's going to stay right where he belongs. That was the quote from A.J. Hinch. So, Michigan, those legions of Michigan baseball fans out there, a little bit of heartbreak. Sam Flannel, I go to you. Secretly, you got to be crushed a little bit, right?
Oh, I'm absolutely crushed. I mean, Chris Fetter was our last hope for being back at the promised land. But honestly, when it comes to Chris Fetter, I think he has ambitions of being a Major League Baseball manager someday. He's so young. He's done a very good job with the pitching staff this year. And who knows how long A.J. Hinch is going to be here, unfortunately. So Chris Fetter's looking at the writing on the wall and being like, I want to manage in Major League Baseball. And managing for Michigan baseball, that's such a step down. Who wants to play in front of 200, 300 fans? And I'm a Michigan fan.
200, 300 fans? What do you mean?
I mean, at their home games.
When they're in the regionals, every piece of Michigan baseball information that goes across social media gets thousands of interactions. What do you mean 200 or 300 a game?
I mean, that's true, but when it comes to college baseball, it's kind of a niche sport. So when you see your team doing good, everyone gets on the bandwagon. I admit I got on it when they made the College World Series and lost to Vanderbilt. But as far as diehard Michigan baseball fans, a lot of parents, a lot of family members, I personally don't know one myself.
So I wonder where Michigan's going to go, because players in the transfer portal, it's a bad. Hey.
Yeah, you're so concerned.
I know. Well, this is big.
Well, I think, you know what?
Damn it, D-Mac, give this the attention it deserves.
At the end of the day, it's probably the best news we've heard out of the Detroit Tigers in a long time, because we can all agree is that, you know, and I'm looking for tonight, Tarek Skubal pitching off of a rough performance, but, you know, definitely he's been our all-star. You mentioned Alex Lang, you mentioned how our bullpens pitch, and I look at the sort of Michael Fulmer in this year and last year coming off Tommy John and different things like that. He's the right guy for the job, and I think that, you know, as much as we can question the hitting coach and have those questions, the pitching we really can't. And I think that you got to look at Chris Fetter for that. So, I mean, as a Tigers fan, I mean, yay. Yay, I guess, but we're still the elephant in the room with what are you doing with Al?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter if you draft garbage, he can't do anything with it. He'll do the best he can, polish it up, but you need talent. So
and you know it is something where, but everyone be prepared for this, right? Like the pitching, the starting pitching, the ERA, and everything. It's already showing signs of regressing to the mean. You know, that's the analytical quote where people talk about regression to the mean. That's the big one in basketball. We're seeing that with the Tigers pitching staff now. Alex Faedo, Tarek Skubal. It's a quasi-big start for Skubal today.
No, that's what I'm saying, because he's a legitimate Major League Baseball, and if I call him an all-star, like he's our guy, right? So he's supposed to be able to bounce back from a tough performance and hit whatever. Okay, his mean is slipping. Well, unslip your mean, kid. Like, get out there and throw the pitches, and it's all about, you know, being consistent, and you're getting into the dog days, and it's got to be frustrating, you know, playing on a losing team, having to go out there, and but that's part about being a professional, right? Part about being and can we all agree that the Tigers pitching staff with Chris Fetter in charge, we're happy with it?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah,
I mean, the numbers are there.
I'm not calling for his job. I'm happy that he's back, so let's move on. Now, hopefully, Skubal pitches a good game tonight.
Rack says maybe just didn't want to deal with recruiting and everything else that goes along with college coaching. And it backs up Sam Flannel's point a little bit, too, where he wants to be a major league manager. You don't do that being a college manager.
I mean, why would you? It honestly didn't make any sense for Chris Fetter to go to Michigan. And I would love, as a bandwagon Michigan baseball fan, for him to get there. But he's got bigger aspirations. He's going to be a major league manager someday. I mean, that's how I see his trajectory. And he might even be the next manager of the Tigers, depending on what AJ Hinch does, which who knows if he wants to manage this team another year.
Southpaw Lab says Michigan baseball looking at Brandon Edge, the current volunteer assistant, and Jeff Mercer, the current head coach at Indiana. He would be my choice. Chuck says, how about give Michigan State the same amount of attention? They deserve some love. All right, Chuck, let's talk about it. Michigan State baseball, 8-16 in Big Ten play. They were second to last to the Minnesota Gophers.
Spencer, I know you watched those games and we're just heartbroken.
I know you were there. I know you're a season ticket holder. I know you get out there every opportunity you get. Can we talk about the state of Michigan State baseball?
Yeah.
Remember when Kirk Gibson played there?
Yeah,
that was cool.
All-American. I went to one Michigan State baseball game completely hammered on like a Tuesday afternoon, and that was the only experience I had in Michigan State baseball. It was a fun experience, though. I was just in the crowd. Me and my roommate Billy, we were just in the crowd screaming, just hammered, yelling at people, talking trash to the ump. It was a lot of fun.
Did you sneak some in?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You got shooters in the socks, of course.
We need that as a drop. You got shooters in the socks.
Were they were ankle high, knee high? What's going on?
High.
Ankle high,
yeah.
attaboy.
What do you think the key is to turning around Michigan State baseball?
We need pitching and hitting and coaching. So simple as that.
All right, great talk. That's our Michigan State baseball insider. To recap, Spencer Raxter, I went to one game, quote, I was hammered.
Yep. It was a good time, though.
Quote, there were shooters in the socks.
Yeah, shooters in the socks, quote. Baby.
It's very on brand for you, brother. I will say that.
I mean, I'm not going to come up here and lie. You know? It is.
I will say this, though, about the Tigers game tonight, D-Mac.
Yeah.
It's a little funky. The Red Sox are only a minus 140 favorite. Skubal's on the mound. He struggled a bit. I want to give out Boston. I do.
Well, Scott gave it out. Woodward bets. Scott gave it out. You know that's what you're thinking.
It seems too easy.
Okay. Well, maybe that's the one. It is. It is the Tigers, and if you don't, I guess believe that. If you believe in the mean,
Michael
do you believe
Wacha
in the mean, or do you not?
Yeah.
How's Walker's mean? Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I want to. I can't. It doesn't. It goes against my principle. It seems too easy. I'm not doing it.
Well, you're not putting it. Yeah,
I'm not doing it. You were
never pulling out the Mountain West, anyway. So
I'm not as confident about this one. Mike G says regression to the mean. Are you talking about Zadina again? Oh, hey,
yeah, that's happened a lot. That's a lot.
Let me tell you about Syntron, because the summer of Syntron is here. Now Syntron's available at your local Kroger store as well. Syntron, proud partners of Little Caesars Arena, the Detroit Pistons, the Red Wings, the Tigers, and Detroit City FC. Next time you're grocery shopping out at Kroger, scoop some up. Give it a spin. 2 cans, $4. You saw the Braylon Edwards commercial. You know what it is. You know how it works. Give it a spin. You're going to find what we find.
Why wait?
Yeah, why wait? Great taste. Guaranteed. Those are Braylon's words. He knows he's a big Syntron advocate, as we are here at Woodward Sports. Drink it. Live it with Syntron.
New to the game or a season better? OddsTrader.com has everything you need to make the right bet ahead of kickoff. Begin your handicapping journey with OddsTrader. Improve your edge by finding the best price on every game from sportsbooks in your backyard. Take advantage of the numerous sign-up bonus offers to pad your bankroll. Dive into key game statistics, player performance, and even account for the projected game day weather. Best of all, you can use the OddsTrader bet tracker to keep a log of your action. Welcome to OddsTrader, and best of luck.
When you need apparel, there's only one place to go. Big Frog in Novi. With no setup fees, no artwork fees, no minimum, and a 24-hour turnaround, you can have your whole team outfitted in no time. Embroidery, direct-to-garment, vinyl, and screen printing, Big Frog has it all in all the styles you want. So whether it's a sports team, fundraiser, school event, or corporate needs, Big Frog is your one-stop destination. Visit bigfrog.com/Novi or call 844-4-BIG-FROG.
Neal Ruhl here for the Monroe Street Midway. And Bedrock and Rocket Mortgage basically turned an empty parking lot into a massive outdoor playground right in the heart of the city next to Campus Martius. Roller skating, basketball courts, a mini golf course, food trucks, live music performances, art installation. Yes, you can get you some culture while you're out there as well. It's a fun place to visit, whether you're on a date, you're out with the family, or hanging out before a Tigers game. They've got Wi-Fi too, so if you want to sneak away for lunch, get some work done in the heart of the city, that is in play for you as well at the Monroe Street Midway, brought to you by Bedrock and Rocket Mortgage. Final segment of the show, you know what that means. It's Ask DMAC time. And whatever you got for DMAC, Darren McCarty, he's an open book. He'll answer it. This is an overriding one that we've gotten a few times, DMAC. Stanley Cup tonight, right?
Yeah.
Pivotal game
It's all
for who you got.
goaltending, and here's the thing. The number one is the over is probably 6. You got to take the over, because why is this? Because as you've seen, both teams' power plays are so volatile. You got to at least count 1 or 2 goals for that. But this game isn't going to. I see the game playing out just like the game did the other day. Vasilevsky's only going to get better as he does in this series, and this is for Tampa to stake claim. And even this series at 2, I take Tampa in the over tonight.
All right, we got a special guest here in studio. Okay,
well,
you
look
catch
at
him.
this. Oh, he's
you catch
special,
him
all right. He's
on the bottom
special.
line from 2 to 4. You catch him if you look at the list of Biletnikoff winners as well. You can see him there also. In and around the community at Rochester on a Saturday night, I can confirm. We go to my guy, Braylon Edwards, who is here in the house. Braylon, it's Ask DMAC time.
Well, in that case, I got a question, D-Mac.
All right. Hi, Braylon.
What's
Braylon
up,
from
brother?
West Bloomfield. Welcome.
First and foremost, Braylon from Detroit. You know that.
Oh,
Detroit
yeah.
Red Wings.
Detroit.
Braylon's from Detroit, but I do live in West Bloomfield now. Yeah. Who's tougher, D-Mac? NHL or NFL players? Age-old question.
Well, you were named after a pretty tough one, or you won an award after the Biletnikoff. He was pretty tough. But, that's a great question. At the end of the day, who is tougher, a hockey player or a football player? I think that is a deep dive. Because
it is a deep dive.
Because toughness is equated so much differently. It's not just I think hockey players can take a better punch in the face because we're used to it.
Here's a political aspect of I see it.
No. Because it's the
Don't
same thing as
dance around
talking
it.
to
Who's
Josh
tougher?
Parisian.
Who's tougher,
Who's
D-Mac?
tougher?
Hockey players all day.
NFL all day.
No, absolutely not.
NFL all day.
You got no. No
NFL
way.
all day.
No way.
You guys get to dance on skates and fight? Oh, my apologies.
Wait a sec.
It's not.
Are you saying that fighting on skates is
No,
easier than
I'm
fighting
saying,
on your feet?
No.
So
Way
what I'm
more
saying is
skill
that
involved.
I'm not only I disagree. I think that you put hockey players in football, they'd survive. It's called rugby. Played it. That's the closest thing.
What
There's
it's
no
called,
equipment, stuff like
is
that.
knowing
But
that
the
Ray
fact
Lewis
that
is going
the
to hit you running
you
slant
put the-
and still running that slant.
Big deal.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What,
You
what
guys
is
keep
going
crashing
over
to
the
the boards.
middle? Whatever like this. Or how about this, B?
Yeah, I'm waiting.
How about having to take your helmet off and actually stand there when there's a 5-on-5 or a bench sprawl where there's nowhere to hide and you have to stand there and slug it out with a guy or being part of that?
How about that same
How
bench
about
brawl
not
with
running-
Aaron Donald and Von Miller on the opposite side of you?
Why is everybody looking at me like
No,
I'm
we're
the
not.
referee
I'm
or
You don't
something
think
like
we
that?
got Von Miller's and the biggest thing is when
One
you
or-
used to
one
play
or
and I
two.
used to play, we used to say, thank God, right? The linebackers, defensive linemen don't skate. Well, they do now. There's guys that are 6'4", 5', 6'8". Zdeno Chara might be the toughest human being.
Mario Williams got drafted. He was 6'8", 300.
I get it.
Let's go
so
for it.
So you have different guys, but on
Right.
the average, I think if you take the whole thing, you
Yeah.
guys also have kickers. So if you take the whole thing,
Don't do that. I've never seen Sidney Crosby get into a fight.
he doesn't need to, but he's tougher than hell.
Same thing. Our kickers don't need to get into a fight.
But Sidney Crosby, you can't say he's not one of the toughest people you've ever seen.
Who's the number one
Toughness isn't fighting.
Who's the number one
It's
podcaster in the
toughness-
world right now? What's his name?
Big D Energy.
No, I'm not talking about
No,
that. I'm
what did
talking
he
about
say?
terms today.
Oh.
You know I'm
I
talking about
just
Pat
think- I
McAfee.
think-
How many times have you seen Pat McAfee lay guys out? He was a kicker.
I get it. That's one. I got goalies to name. I'll match the tough goalies with your tough kickers.
I got Mike Dick as the name. Dick Buckus is the name.
Here's the final question, right?
We got to do this for
here's
real.
the final question.
We got to do this
I got
for
a
real.
question, right? You see this online all the time. Spencer, back me up. A million zombies versus 100 John Wick, and they have the fight and whatever like this. What I'm saying is if you put hockey players, right, the toughest,
Right.
into football,
Yeah.
right, they would last longer playing both sports. I think more hockey players could endure the toughness of football.
I agree with you on that, but you guys started skating at 2 years old, so that's technically not a fair comparison. We're not in ice skates at 2
I didn't
years
skate
old.
till I was 6. So
Okay. I'm sorry, 6.
But that's the point. Okay, so the point is that the toughness is.
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys play one game a week.
I respect both.
You guys
know,
play
wanna-
one game a week. What you're seeing
The
right
fact
now.
that we play
I
one
just,
game-
I just believe that the toughness down
Yeah.
to the core on the average, right, when we're taking the mean, is
The
that
fact that
hockey's
we
tougher.
play one game a week lets you
Here's the
know
thing.
how physical
Where are
it
there
is.
softer players
Ooh.
on the thing, right? We're not talking soccer.
Well, they're at LCA and they don't play hockey. They're in an NBA, so they're not in this. They're not in this
can we- hey,
conversation.
wait, can the hockey guy and the football guy agree that basketball players don't hold?
I would
lick?
kick their ass every day of the week,
Every
twice
day
on
of the
Sunday.
week.
Hey, let's have this, because I respect hockey players so much. Let's have this
I think
conversation in a more chill
we'll
vibe
sit
and do
down.
something with
But
it.
I think toughness is
Relative.
measured different.
Yeah.
Right? And then just like, no, of course, if a football player
Two teams walk
got
into
a
a
hold
bar.
of me,
Right.
could you know, like you said, 6'8", 300, you got no chance. But
Let's-
toughness is a mentality.
Let's
when
talk
you get
this
into
out.
the physically, football players, maybe mentally, hockey players are. Absolutely all day long. Because
Okay.
yes, you have that mentality to go through the middle and get your head
Yeah.
lit up. We all have that mentality.
Chris on our YouTube chat thread says, I'd rather get run over by Aaron Donald than take a 100-mile-per-hour slap shot to the knee. Hockey players are way tougher, if not way crazier. I'll say it this way. Like, as far as dealing with injuries in game, it's hockey guys, no question about it. But and I talked.
Ask Joe Theismann about that. If you see
No,
if he
no doubt.
agrees.
No,
Yeah, but he couldn't come back.
But he couldn't come back.
When you break a guy's leg the other way in half. But
Right.
that's what I mean, like the ferocity and of that, like the ferocious vibe. There's a, to your point about there's a different mentality.
And that's
to
the
all of
point.
it.
That's the point I was driving at. And I talked with you about this Saturday night, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, we did.
When you put that helmet on and go across that line, and knowing what you're going into, like the place you have to go mentally, and you see it because you look at what happens to a large percentage of football players in their their lives, their
Put it
post-playing
to you this way,
lives.
playing offense and defense, obviously he threw the kickers out there. That was a good one. But playing offense and defense, every game, I knew I was going to get effed up at some point.
At some point,
every game, I knew I was going to get effed up at some point. You're not getting effed up every game, every time in hockey.
Yeah, you are.
Not every game.
What are you talking about? Then what are you sitting out?
I'm saying some positions. Every position in the NFL gets hit with the exception of kickers and long snappers, and even long snappers get hits after the ball is punted. Every game, you're going to get hit at some point.
You can't. In hockey, you're going to be
I've been watching
at some point.
I've been watching the playoffs. NHL has definitely had the best playoffs out of all the major sports. I would agree with that as well. But I've watched it. I've seen some guys not get hit through the course of a game.
Softball Lab says, and baseball play. Never mind. I think that's a good. We'll have to further this discussion in a controlled environment.
Why don't we dig into doing a deeper dive on this and laying it down? But we can agree the top two are either football or hockey.
Yeah,
I think that's fair. Absolutely.
That's fair.
Appreciate everybody tapping in to Big D Energy. Braylon Edwards coming up at 2 o'clock, 2 to 4 on The Bottom Line. For Darren McCarty, for Sam Flannel, for Spencer Baxter. My name is Neal Ruhl. Thanks, everybody, for tapping in to Big D Energy on the Woodward Sports Network. Well, see you later.
Hey, Braylon.